Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is a bad business commentary, and the first that I've shared on the channel for quite some time. I do apologise to the people that really like the game and enjoyed the footage, but there's several reasons for it that I'm not really going to go into. Right now, Roblox is actually having problems. It's been having some outages, and it's probably a really frustrating time for the people that make the games and the guys that are invested in this platform. And there's a very good reason to be invested in this platform because it's really big. It's much bigger than people realise, and I don't think it gets the respect that it deserves in almost any facet of most communities that I'm aware of. But the people who are part of my community, who've seen me play this shooter, who understand the fundamentals in it and what they're getting right that so many modern AAA studios are getting wrong, intentionally, in order to hurt the product for the higher end player skill set and to help the lower end, weaker chaff players so that they can feel empowered without having any of the skill, attachment, mechanical finesse, or need to even learn the systems. They just get these welfare systems instead to compensate. We'll realise that there's something really special here, and it might not be immediately apparent if you're already into some other shooter, and that shooter looks considerably better than this one because this one looks a little bit like Lego and it's stylised and all aspects like that you might not understand. But Bad Business has chops, it really does, and I don't get to play it as much as I once did because life tugs you in different directions, and it didn't do well on my channel. If it had done well on my channel, I could justify playing it much more than I do, and I wish I could play it every day, but the truth remains I just simply don't. I've not played any real serious Bad Business for months now, and it's a sad fact to that, and it makes me wish that it worked in different ways, because I think there's a few things that could make it a lot more accessible and a lot better for a lot of people. But that's not what today's conversation's about, guys. Today's conversation is the year anniversary of me knowing that this game exists, and it's kind of interesting, isn't it, how time flies. I watched a streamer by the name of Baronox play Bad Business, and I like that streamer a lot because he has really good aim and he's a really interesting guy. And he was playing this unusual game that I didn't recognise that looked a hell of a lot like the one you're watching right now, and he was shooting people and he was just walking around and just absolutely dominating people with superior aim. And when you see something like that, you're like, what is going on here? All the modern games are removing gun skill and removing actual, mechanical precision, and they're favouring it for randomness, and everybody gets to win regardless of hand-eye coordination. So I watched it, and it just seemed that, everything about it seemed like the type of thing that I was chasing in shooters at that moment, but we weren't getting it. And I never thought I would find it where I found it, which was in Roblox. Something that I just never understood and really underestimated in several ways. And it was the Halloween event when I jumped on and finally played, because I did make my account earlier on and I did load the game, but it was that moment where it just kind of like, what the fuck am I doing? This is dumb. This is some kid thing. This is weird. This probably puts me on a list somewhere where paedophiles are on, and I don't want to be associated with that. So I didn't push it. But then for whatever reason I just thought I'll give that weird Lego game a go. And I jumped on, and I'll never forget. It was Spooky Brazil. It spawned me in the cave. The cave where no one is, because that part of the map is like a flank route, but it's just kind of needless because it defers traffic, and I think it gives people an opportunity not to get spawn trapped, but we all know Brazil, it's always a spawn trap regardless of where the spawns are. And I ran through the cave, and the movement felt really weird. It felt super odd. I didn't like it. I didn't like how the movement felt. I didn't really like how the game felt in that moment. Just my initial autistic, reaction to the systems. And there was a guy standing still, AFK, in front of me. And I had the AK, because of course you started with the AK then. I don't know if they've changed that yet, but they have intentions to do so. And I shot him with the AK. And the punch and the feedback that you got from the game, and the kill marker came up, the sound, and I was like, wow, this is cool. As I get dumpstered there, putting the shotgun on for 2 minutes, and then thinking, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Me and the double barrel didn't get on. And it was a bit late when I jumped on. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I jumped on, I killed that guy, I ran around, I couldn't really find anybody because the server was kind of one of those goofy servers that you get every so often. And I killed a couple other people, and the game ended, and it was in that moment where I knew, I'm going to play this now probably every night, for an hour or two, and get some gameplay, and share it with my community, because in that moment I was really excited, because I don't know if you get this, but I've been on YouTube a long time, and sharing what you're interested in is one of those beautiful moments, because even if you don't have a massive audience, you don't have, you know, dozens and dozens of people that are sharing your stuff, checking your stuff, coming back for you and hungry for your opinions and things, you still have this reach and this ability to share something cool with people that they might not have seen yet. And sharing cool things with people is one of the greatest things you can do. And this was so interesting to me. I think that guy was shooting my body there. He must have not been happy with me. So I got really optimistic and really excited at making videos. And the first video I put up was, you know, imagine if Call of Duty players moved this much, or something like that. And I compared this game to GoldenEye, which is a bit of an old game now for a lot of people. I would imagine most people that play Bad Business weren't alive when GoldenEye was in its heyday. But GoldenEye to me is like a mark of innocence. It's a symbol of youth. It's a symbol of fun. It's a symbol of when video games were kind of at their purest. And it does kind of sound like one of those halcyon, you know, bullshit rose-tinted perspectives. But to me, it was those endless summers when you're younger, playing video games and playing a shooter that you really loved, that was always fun. You know, I didn't know anything about servers then. I didn't know anything about tick rates. I didn't know anything about frame pacing. I didn't really know anything about anything. I was playing split screen with 4 people. It was like 7 FPS on a CRT. It was a great day, a great time. And this game gave me that feeling. It reminded me of just running around and doing dumb things. And it's one of the things I'll always appreciate Bad Business for. Because, I mean, it's a little bit different now, and I have to say this, guys. Bad Business is not the same game it was when I started playing. I don't know why Roblox and the culture of Roblox works the way it does. I think this game should have higher numbers than Phantom Forces. I think this game should have higher numbers than Arsenal. I just think this is a better game than those games in several distinct ways, especially if you value skill. However, skill ostracizes. Skill makes people feel unskilled when they're not good. And this is a game where the difference between a good player and a bad player, the effect they can have on a game is absurd. So if you bring somebody to this that knows what they're doing and they care, they will destroy servers. However, if you bring people to this who don't care, they will be destroyed by the people who do. And to me, that is the ultimate lion-gazelle relationship, Serengeti fun time that video games should be, because that's what I value. I value people that put time in. I value people that want to improve, that want to be better than they were the day before, and this game gives me that. It is a delivery system of that. And that doesn't mean that there's not bullshit. It doesn't mean that there's not moments where you get robbed. It doesn't mean that you're not going to face nonsense. There's always nonsense. But I do think at this moment in time, Bad Business it's not as healthy as it was when I was first playing it. The player base is a lot more dedicated because it's a lot more dwindling than it was when I first started playing it. And I would love to see the resurgences that you see on these events, like the Halloween event and the Operation Unicorn and the Christmas event, where the player numbers spike up to, you know, 3 to 5 to 6,000 players. I love it when there's that many people on, because you jump into the lobbies and you see the fresh guys, you know, just jumping in and seeing what it's all about, and you see all the people leveling up and getting the guns and discovering the game. And then there's those days where there's 1,800 people on and every lobby is full of max prestige guys that all know the movement, that all run around with the meta weapons, and every single person that you fight against on the enemy team, you recognise them because you see them in the Discord. You know, you see them on the streams, like, you know the good players, you come to remember the names, and that's cool as well, because it shows that there are people that dedicated to the game that want to play it. But unfortunately, you know, those are the kind of players, myself included, that do push some people away. Because you know you don't want to jump into a game like this and come up against somebody that feels like they're cheating, you know? Every time you get into a gunfight with them, they beat you. It's not a fun feeling for a lot of players, and it's just the necessary evil of competitive multiplayer. But even though Bad Business right now isn't where I wish it was, and even though it is changing in many ways, there's a lot of things in the works that are going to make it hopefully a more successful game, a more appealing game, and hopefully bring a lot more traffic to it. And a lot of the design decisions that the team have done, I don't really like. It goes against what I enjoy about the game, but that's okay, because it's not about me, you know? It's about appealing to a wide demographic, and I think most of the changes that they've done are clever, you know? I think a lot of them are very smart. I think they show a nice foresight, and I just can't see, once I think it's the 3.0 comes out and we get the more game modes and we get the better progression system and the rewards for stuff you do in game, and a whole host of other quality of life features, I think when that comes out, I think Bad Business, hopefully, if the marketing is good, if the networking is good, if people can have a look at it and see it for what it is instead of judging it for what they believe it might have been years ago, I think it could definitely stand a chance of doing really, really well. And I think the cool part, all the troubles considered, is even if it doesn't and it just continues to be where it is, it's still very, very popular and very successful, all considered, in the grand scheme of Roblox. And the people behind it are learning every day from what they do. They're building something. They're looking to change, to twist, to invent, to reinvent, to renovate. And then they have, I think, another game in the works that might be on hold a little bit or have been affected by some stuff that's happened in the community, unfortunately. So whatever they do next could be even better than this. And that's exciting, because nobody hits it out of the park the first time usually, and if they do, it's really, really lucky. And I don't think Bad Business was this development team's first game, because I've heard some other game names. So it just goes to show, you keep iterating, you keep improving, you keep building, you keep being stronger than the sum of your parts, and the Colossus moves forward, and before you know it, onwards and upwards. But that has been 1 year of Bad Business in my life, and I can't be more grateful for finding it. So thank you for watching, and you take care.